Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 48. So today we are going to present about Engineering in Society project titled Penang Warehouse Construction Collapse. First, I would like to introduce a bit about our project title. So we know that the construction industry is a high-risk sector where structural failure leads to catastrophe. When elements like beams or columns fail to support their loads, the results are tragic because it involves in fatalities and severe legal consequences. And as we know, in November 2023, concrete beam collapse in Bayan Lepas Penang perfectly illustrate our narrow margin for error. This incident didn't just impact the victim's family, it also a direct reflection of our professional integrity. So, our objective for this study is to analyze this collapse and evaluate the structural and safety failure against engineering regulation and safety standard. To really understand what went wrong in Bayan Lepas, we have to look at the scale of the failure. We are talking about a reinforced concrete beam that was 12 meters long and weighed a massive 14 to 33 tons. In any building, beams are the heavy lifter. They take the weight from the floors and walls and pass it down to the columns and foundation to keep everything balanced. So in this case, the load simply became too much for the beam, causing it to snap and collapse. So why did it happen? It may be due to improper structural design that was overseen or not taken into consideration. And it can also be due to incorrect installation as well as uneven load distribution that caused the beam to not be strong enough to bear the load. Not just that, it can be because of weak supervision or negligence and safety management that is not being really considered that caused the building to collapse.
So I will talk about technical and engineering issues. So the cause of collapse for this issue is failure of 33-ton main support beam triggering collapse of 14 additional beams, and it is chain reaction that indicates potential structural design flaws, construction errors, or both. Incident occurred while concrete was being poured on upper floors. Next, we will talk about concrete and construction issues. Concrete is reportedly hardened after 12 hours, but remain porous and not compact, and the standard curing time for cement is 7 to 28 days to reach designed strength. The early loading before sufficient compressive strength can lead to structural failure. Night construction suggests schedule pressure and insufficient curing time. So from the Engineering Act, engineers must ensure design safety and compliance with the standard. So from Section 1510, engineers must perform duties with skill, care, and diligence. From the Regulation 24A, work must be performed carefully, responsibly, and in good faith. And Regulation 24B, public safety, health, and welfare must always be prioritized. Negligence or prioritizing costs over speed over safety may be considered unethical conduct under Section 51I.
Next, I will present the ethical issues that could lead to the problems in this case. The first one will be the lack of responsibility in the duty of care. Second one is prioritizing cost and deadline over the safety. The third one is poor risk assessment, and the fourth one is weak enforcement and compliance issue. The first one is the lack of responsibility in the duty of care. This is the violation of an ethical principle where the contractor and engineers have a moral duty to protect worker and public safety. For example, in this case, 3 workmen were murdered when a large 12-meter beam collapsed because the contractors neglect to check its stability before installing it. The second one is prioritizing cost and deadline. This is the violation of an ethical principles of integrity and responsibility. The project completion may have taken as priority higher than the worker safety, and if the warehouse construction was hurried and materials or inspection was skipped. The third one is the poor risk assessments. This is the violation of an ethical principle of professional competence. The immediate failure of a large support beam during the active construction shows that the proper structural and load risk assessments were probably neglected. And the last one is the weak enforcement and compliance issues, the violations of an ethical principles of accountability. The accidents become worse due to the ongoing presence of hazardous working environment.
Hello, I am Razi. I'll be explaining the recommendation part, which to prevent the similar incident to Penang warehouse collapse. So first, the structural design must be carefully checked before construction begins. Professional engineers should verify their design calculations and ensure the structure support all loads, including construction loads. Using structural simulation software can also help detect weaknesses in the design early. And next, proper supervision on the construction site is very, very important. Qualified engineers or site supervisors should regularly monitor the installation of structural components such as beams and columns. This helps ensure that construction work follows the approved design and prevents installation mistakes. Another important recommendation is conducting a proper risk assessment before starting construction work. Methods such as hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control or HIRARC can help identify potential hazards like lifting heavy beams or structural instability. After identifying these risks, suitable control measures can be implemented. During construction, the structure may not yet be fully stable. Therefore, temporary supports or bracing systems must be used to support structural components such as beams. This support should be properly designed and inspected by engineers to prevent structural collapse during construction. In addition, workers should receive proper safety training before performing high-risk tasks. This includes training on hazard awareness, safe handling of materials, emergency response procedures, and the correct use of personal protective equipment. Authorities must also ensure strict enforcement of safety regulations such as the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 and the Factories and Machinery Act 1967. Regular inspection and strict penalties for safety violations can help ensure that construction companies follow proper safety standards. Another important factor is promoting a strong safety culture at construction sites. Workers should feel comfortable reporting hazards or unsafe conditions. Regular safety meetings and open communication between workers and supervisors can help prevent accidents. Lastly, modern technologies such as structural sensors, digital monitoring systems, and drone inspections can help engineers detect early signs of structural problems. This allows preventive action to be taken before a serious failure occurs.
This incident is a wake-up call for the entire industry. Our analysis shows it wasn't just a material failure, but a systemic breakdown involving poor design, premature loading, and weak supervision. This highlights a clear failure to uphold the Registration of Engineers Act and OSHA 1994. Moving forward, public safety must always come before speed or cost. A building's integrity is only as strong as the oversight we provide during its construction. So I think that's all from our group. Thank you.